Are you one of those people who aspire to go to the land of the smiles? Yes, you got it right. It's Thailand! Who wouldn't want to visit the well-known Grand Palace in Bangkok or the White Temple located at the Chiang Rai? I bet you are curious about the history that lies between the walls of those structures. If you are, then fasten your seatbelt. You can explore some of the places in this country in the comfort of your home. How? Let us explore the different architectural designs of Thailand, the history behind it, and how it started to bring amazement to the world. First, let us define Thailand architecture. The Thailand architecture is a major part of the country's cultural legacy and the people's sense of community. It is rooted in the traditional design influences of its surrounding Asian countries. Indian, Khmer, Burmese, and Chinese architectural styles have all had a substantial impact on Thai design through the centuries. With its bright colors, rich ornamentation, sweeping multi-tiered roofs, and stunning murals, the architecture of Thailand have been immediately identifiable. Geographical setting. Thailand occupies the total land boundaries of 4,863 km. Cambodia and Laos border the country to the east and northeast, and Myanmar lies to the northwest. To the west are the Andaman Sea and Myanmar, then the Gulf of Thailand and Malaysia to the south. Thailand is known as Phrae Thai, meaning land of the free, but it was previously known as Siaham, or dark brown people. Geographical influence to Thailand architecture. Most houses are raised because there are many villages in Thailand that are centered on rivers and canals, which are prone to flooding, especially in rainy season. Also, as people live near the river, some houses are built in the style that is suitable for its surrounding. A floating house has been a prominent solution for it. Now, let's go on to building materials. Sandstones are used for door parts, lintels, and rectangular windows. Brick replaced sandstone as the favored mortar, bounded with vegetable glue, and then sheeted in carved stone. Stucco is a sand, lime, and glue mixture strengthened by terracotta armature, later used to cover brick walls. Wood is also employed in temple construction. Porcelain is used for some ornamental decorations. Glass mosaic pieces to highlight gables and pillars.
Sawadee-krap, Pumchu, Janpo, Talusan Krap. The next influence is climate. Thailand, just like the Philippines, is a tropical country, but with a bit higher temperatures ranging from 28 to 35 degrees Celsius. So basically, the traditional architecture in every region is well designed for tropical weather with sharply sloping roofs to quickly channel off rainwater. The north of Bangkok area of Thailand has a climate determined by 3 seasons, which are cold, hot, and rainy, while the southern peninsular region has only 2, which are dry and rainy. Then religion. First is Buddhism. 94% of the population follows Theravada Buddhism, and this is the main reason for the majority of the country's spectacular temples. These Buddhist temples are renowned for their tall domes, golden stupas, unique architecture, and amazing details. Second is Islam. 4.6% of the population follows Muslim religion. Islam is known to have been introduced by the Arab traders and adventurers during the 13th century to the Malay Peninsula. This religion is dispersed throughout the country, with major concentration found in the southern peninsula as well as in Bangkok. Next is Christianity. 0.7% of the population follows Christianity, which was brought to Thailand by European missionaries in the 16th and 17th century. This has opened doors for surgery, smallpox vaccinations, and even trained the doctors in the Western medicine. 5 of the Christianity's major denominations have been recognized in Thailand, namely the Southern Baptist, the Church of Christ in Thailand, the Roman Catholic Church, the Evangelical Fellowship of Thailand, and the Seventh-day Adventists. And then Sikhism. a monotheistic religion that originated in India, founded by Guru Nanak, which emphasizes equality and service to others. Sikhs operate a free school for poor children regardless of caste, creed, or religion, and through charitable associations, they support the aged and the sick. And other religions including Hinduism, a religion whereby many Thais worship Hindu deities such as the famous Erawan shrine of a four-faced Brahma god and the statues of Ganesh, Indra, and Shiva. And lastly is Judaism, a religion which constitutes a minimal part of Thai population of around 1,000 people only.
Sawadee Ka, Pomchu Awing Gonzales Ka. I'm here to present the historical background of Thailand architecture. First is the ancient civilization. Most of the knowledge about this period is obtained from the archaeological evidence in Nakhon Pathom, where they found it to be the center of the Warawati culture. Only fragments of foundation of the building left in the ruins of Wat Pramet. The plinths were made of bricks and stones. What could in Lapum represent the last phase of the Rawati style? The Khmer Lokburi in the central and eastern Thailand that uses mirror building. This style introduced the use of brick, sandstone, and lateral instead of the traditional brick. Wat Mahadhatu Temple is an example of Khmer Lokburi style. Sukhothai period is found by two Thai governors. This period is called as an golden age of Thai culture because it gained independence from its boundary of influence. Also, the Thai name means free. The identity of the culture in Sukhothai is decorations in order to display the Buddhist faith by buildings in symbolic shapes. Temple of the Bodhi tree is the largest, most bustling, and historically important temple. It is made famous for this enormous stucco Buddha. Ayutthaya period is founded by King Rama Tidbadi in 1350. It is the largest and the most prosperous empire of its time. It is the society of the builders rather than sculptors. The temple in Ayutthaya seldom built eaves stretching from the masthead. It is designed to display might and riches. The dominant feature of this style is sunlight shining into buildings. Ayutthaya Three Palace for its ruler, Wang Luan for the royal palace, Wang Na for the palace in the front, and Wang Lang for the palace in the rear. The Na or Chiang Mai period, it is founded by King Pira Mangrai. It uses wood but more of stone and bricks. Wats or temples were the main structure built in this period. Its distinctive characteristic which emphasizes on the enormous size of the shrine and small temple hall. Also, stupas were later built from mid-14th century. Ratanakosin. King Rama is determined to build a new capital to revive the glory of old Ratanakosin. The new capital was located on the island of Ratanakosin. Thai art, culture, philosophy, and literature was developed. Chakri Mahaprasad or Grand Hall is the traditional form where Chinese ornaments were overlaid. The surface were finished with porcelain tiles and bright colored glazed tiles. The gables are decorated and the windows and doors are carved. Architecture constructed had either one of the two distinct characters. The in, which is traditional gable and decorating the roof, while the out is the gable end if the roof were plainly constructed with bricks and stucco.
Architectural character. Detailed craftsmanship. Thai architecture has definite identity. It is made out of artist wisdom, which combined natural beauty with religious beliefs, classic literature and people's livelihood through creativity, ideal imagination, and national identity. It reflects the inner gentleness of Thai artists. There are two main reasons for the artist's devotion in detailing an architectural masterpiece. First is the acceptance of king's divinity. The second one is architectural interpretation of heaven. Their good work will hopefully ensure great fortune and social hierarchy as well as a place in the heaven. Close to nature. Traditional Thai house architecture clearly expresses the relationship between the lifestyle of Thai people and the natural environment. Thais have traditionally built structures near the river or canal, since it is a major factor in farming, which is their main livelihood. They both consider wind and water. Illusion of lightness and buoyancy. By breaking down the roof structure of religious buildings like Bot and Viharn, it creates the feeling of lightness and floating. It is broken into three major sections, the biggest part at the center and lowered front and back. Such light and floating feelings are in regard with the Buddhist beliefs concerning meditation or calmness, lightness, and floating. Architectural interpretation of religious beliefs. Peace is represented in the symmetry of the structures in the temples through the square, rectangle, and sometimes circular shape of structures. Lightness is represented in the form of the curve. The curving design appears in several parts of the structure in the temples, such as the arched roof and the base, as well as the curve of the roof kernel end. The walls and pillars are also built to signify heaven, thick at the base and thin at the top. Walls and pillars lean toward the center of the structure. Building types. First one is the raft houses. Thai houses are commonly located on floodplains, and it enables people to continue their livelihood in their houses during flood. Next one is Wat. It is a Thai temple that is set within an enclosed walls. It is a group of buildings that serves various purposes. It is where lessons of Buddha were taught, and it is traditionally a school, a hospital, community center, and entertainment venue. The Sala, an open-sided pavilion that is found in the courtyards of temples. It serves as a shelter from heavy rain and hot climate, and a living room and a hub for community gatherings.
For the building examples, number 1, Prasat Hin Timay. Built between 11th to 12th century, Timay Historical Park features some of the most exquisite Khmer architecture of Thailand and is the largest among the Khmer temples. These are the Buddhist temples facing southeast direction towards Angkor in Cambodia. Being constructed primarily by Hindu rulers, the temple walls depict the stories from Ramayana and Mahabharata along with those from the life of Buddha. These are precisely the unique features of the template that it forges a link between religious identities, a Buddhist temple built by Hindu rulers. The temple town is a classic example of the architecture of Khmer Empire and depicts the importance of the city during the period it was built. Number 2. Wat Rong Krun. Still a work in progress, the Wat Rong Krun was designed and funded by the Charlem Chai Kosit Pipat, a Thai artist who made it his lifetime project to restore the crumbling 20th century building. The Wat Rong Krun, otherwise known as the White Temple, is rightly named because of the white color. The temple reflects the sunlight, creating a sparkle between of the use of glass in the plaster. Number 3. Wat Saphran Temple. While the Buddhist temple in Amphoe Sampran, 40 kilometers from Bangkok, is not a known tourist attraction, it is an impressive work of humankind, spiraled by a massive dragon across its 17 stories. The dragon is hollow, allowing visitors to walk through it, although many sections are in ruins. The interior of the temple comprises of magnificent shrines and statues, one of the which is a stunning bronze statue of Buddha. However, details such as the architect, day of construction, etc., about this marvel of architecture remain anonymous to this day. Number 4. Wat Arun Ratchawararam. Wat Arun Ratchawararam, also known as Temple of Dawn, Wat Chang or Wat Arun, has been named after the Hindu god Aruna, or the god of dawn. The recent construction, for most parts, was restored and rebuilt by King Rama II and King Rama IV of the Chakri dynasty of Thailand. The view looked radiant, especially during sunrise and sunset. The temple was constructed in the 17th century during the Ayutthaya period. Number 5. Wat Phra Kaew. Wat Phra Kaew, officially called Wat Phra Siratana Sarsadaram, and locally known as Temple of the Emerald Buddha, is revered as the most sacred Buddhist site in Thailand. The Buddha, sitting in the meditating posture, is about 66 centimeters in height and carved from single jade stone. It was enshrined at the Wat Phra Kaeo in 1782 during the reign of King Rama I. Number 6. The Grand Palace. The Grand Palace is a collection of buildings which were the official residence of the kings of Thailand. Constructed by the first king of the Chakri dynasty, King Phut Hayotpha Chulalok or Rama I in 1785.